The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the pit complete. That is crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Welcome to the Gathering of Tweakers race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. My name is Rudy Cummings. I'll be commentating here tonight, and with me in the booth, my co-commentator, Richard Losper. How you doing tonight, Richard?
I'm doing just fine, Rudy, and I'm really excited about this race.
And also co-commentating with me is Sean Ambrose. Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Wonderful, Rudy. Doing wonderful. Great. Happy to be here at the Great Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Okay. And also joining us in the booth here tonight, our co-commentator, and will be helping us with a little spotting, Kevin Brown. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Rudy. Make sure everybody to start commenting and asking your questions, and I'll be answering them on our streams.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. And our director here, Giancarlo Lenzi, be running all of the cameras for us here throughout the broadcast. And welcome here, Giancarlo. Thank you. Okay, we would like to make a special announcement for this race. Throughout the whole broadcast, we'll be announcing this here. This race is being sponsored in part by Thies Heckmans, and we would like to thank him very much for being a sponsor on that. To tell us a little bit about the track info here, this will be a 1.5 mile length. There is only 4 corners, of course, because it is a quad oval. Quad oval meaning the front stretch is not really a tri-oval. It's got 2 separate corners in the front. They'll be running 134 laps here, or 200 miles. They will be having double file restarts in the back, and lucky dogs do apply. So, Richard, do you have anything to tell us about your experiences on this track?
Yeah, well, Rudy, I love Charlotte. Of all the oval tracks, Charlotte and Texas are the two that I like the most, to be honest. The trucks here at Charlotte are very special to me. I believe that we are going to see a great race here tonight. We've got some very, very fast drivers. Just looking at the qualifying times, as we do see them starting to grid up now. We've got in first place a very fast time of 29.400 seconds flat. That is really, really fast. We've got double file restart, which is going to be interesting. This lucky dog idea is great. It means that if you're not on the lead lap when a caution comes out, you do get to get a wave around and get on the lead lap once again. So it's really going to be very interesting to see how these guys take off. I don't know a lot of these guys, but I'm pretty sure we're going to find out a lot about them very soon.
Okay, thank you, Richard. All right, well, as they're getting ready to grid up here, let's see, as you were showing there.
Okay, let's, Rudy, let's just run through the grid very quickly.
Yeah, okay.
So on our pole position here, we've got Kies Jokums with a 29.4, as we mentioned. We've got Denny Rates in second place with a 29.443. That's a great time as well. Neil Heckens, who is one of the organizers of this race, is in third place. Jano Panakit in fourth. And rounding out the fifth place, we've got Jos Van Horn. Sean, you want to take us through the next couple?
Sure. In sixth place, got lining up Roy Visser. And in seventh, Kane Gerards. And then Dalton Collins in eighth. Nick Thyssen in ninth. Robert White in 10th.
Excellent stuff. And we've got Thaman Nabirs in 11th. Dennis Jeressen in 12th. Michael Mellis in 13th place. As we see there, Rudy, that the pace car has just taken off. We'll quickly run through the rest. Ben Hogan, 14. 15th place, Remco Moot. 16th place, Jack Toms. Over to you, Sean.
Right, in 17th, Michael Koenig from the United States. In 18th, Davey Doohy. 19th, Pascal Lan. 20th, Mark Figueres. 21st, Robert DeRouge. Chris Kessler from Florida in 22nd. Michael Carter in 23rd. Florian Frank in 25th. And rounding out the last five, Eric Mulder in 26th. Kevin Brown 27th, Richard Cortland in 28th, 29th, Jeff Williamson, and rounding out the field in 30th, Ronnie Van Hezek.
All right.
Well, Rudy, back to you to call us the start for us, buddy.
Okay, well, thank you guys for giving us that rundown. Appreciate that very much. Keith's bringing them around here. The pace car is going to be ducking off in just a minute. I'm expecting a very good restart. I don't think we're going to see any crashes on the first lap. I have a feeling these guys are going to be able to hang here, double file coming around. So the pace car does duck off. And we are green flag racing here, folks, today at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 134 laps. A long ways to go in these Chevy Silverados.
And we see Keith leading these guys off, Rudy, with a very quick start. And he is now followed by the second place guy, who is Neil Hecken. So these two have jumped straight into first and second. Denny Ratz, who did start in second place, is now in third place. Early days, Roy Visser in fourth place. And rounding out the top five, we have two guys running side by side. We have Jano Panakit and Dalton Collins. So that's what's happening. And at the moment, we have a challenge on the number 27 car from Joe Van Horn. So all nice and clean, as you said, Rudy.
Yeah, we're starting to see the trucks kind of smooth out a little bit here. Everybody's starting to go single file, which is expected here. This track a little bit narrow, not really that capable of passing.
Oh, we got a wreck in turn one, guys. Wreck in turn one. 5 cars collected.
Oh yes.
Dear, oh dear. And looks like Robert DeRoy, he's certainly got damage to his car. He's smoking at this point in time there, Rudy.
Yeah, it looked like they got side by side coming through that second part of the quad oval. Uh, Very dangerous on that outside, and it looked like the number 62 there tapping the wall and coming back down onto the track.
Yeah,
Looks like
that's always dangerous, hitting the wall and then coming back down. You're very likely to take out quite a few trucks that way. I noticed that now they'll be under caution that Chris Kessler straight away has moved up from somewhere in the 30th place down into 22nd. So already the field will now be reduced in number while some of these guys take some repairs.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they're a lot of these guys. I don't know how much damage they've got, whether they can get it fixed up or not. But they're on pit road now, trying to fix things up. And Sean, you have anything on pit road that you can see?
yeah, Florian Frank took really, really heavy damage, took the toe, and it looks like it looks like he's done for the day.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it looks to me like there's a couple of guys who have exited their cars already, guys. Florian Frank out of his car. Maybe he's towing or out. Jupe Willemsen has taken a tow. Robert DeRoy, who we saw with the damaged car, is exited at this point, and Richard Cortland as well. We've got Michael Carter and a bunch of other guys in the pits at this point, Rudy.
Well, yes, they've Michael Carter now I'm showing back out on the track in the 23rd place. So he,
Yep.
whatever damage he did have, whether it was just a toe knocked out or something, he may have gotten it fixed and is back out on the track, Richard.
Yep, and a bunch of guys have completed pit stops and gone out of back out on track. Nobody in the pits at this point in time, as they will get ready for the restart. Now, did we see if anybody got a lucky dog there, or was it too early for lucky dogs? They were all on the main lap, weren't they?
Yeah, shouldn't have been any lucky dogs. The guys that did wreck and were out of the race obviously had taken their cars behind the wall, and at this time, I guess there's no lucky dog.
Yeah. All right, so it looks to me now like Kiers Jochems is still leading. Neil Heckens coming up behind him, falling in line behind the pace car. Bearing in mind this is a double file restart, so they'll be going up 2 by 2 on the last pace lap when the lights go out. And at this point in time, the single file still as they go around the track. So let's see how the restart goes. Looks like your prediction of hardly any cautions did not come true there, Rudy.
Yeah, this track does, it provides some very exciting racing, very fast. For a truck on 1.5 miles, this is very fast. You'll see speeds of over 180 mile an hour on that front stretch. So, like I said, passing on this track pretty much has to be done on the straightaways. Even though the straightaways look wide, they can be a little deceiving when you're in your truck.
Absolutely. You know, there's an ideal line around this track if you can manage to do it, and that is you know, going high before the corners and then coming down towards the apron. That gives you a very, very good exit on the corners. However, lots of times you don't get that opportunity, particularly when there are lots of trucks on the track with you. Somebody will try and take the low line away from you and keep you up wide, which means that if you're carrying too much speed there, you may just be touching the wall. Also, Rudy, you will know that this front section on the tri-oval part, we'll call it the tri-oval, can be quite dangerous when 2 or 3 cars try to negotiate that section, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And especially if the guy on the inside catches that strip of grass with his left rear wheel, oh man, that can send you up the track and cause a lot of havoc. But the lights are off on the pace car now, Richard, and we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing this time by.
That's excellent. We hopefully we'll get a lot more laps in. Still early days. I mean, there's really no need for guys to rush. Take your time and try and work your way towards the front. There's plenty of times. 134 laps is a lot of miles on a 1.5 mile track, Rudy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. These guys, I think the best thing for them to do is to try to get it down to single file, run some of the laps down, and make your passes, individually. Don't try to push it too hard and try to do a lot of passing in the pack.
Yeah. Well, we shall see how the restart goes. The pace car will be ducking in to the pit area very, very soon. So back to you, Rudy.
Okay, and it does duck on pit road. And we are green flag racing once again here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And it looks like our leader is going to jump right out again like he did on the start.
Oh, and Rudy is blinking a little bit, which in iRacing indicates that he may be having some connection problems.
Mhm.
Let's hope that doesn't happen, because would be tragic if he has to back out because he doesn't have a good connection or loses his connection. However, they are going too wide. I'm looking at the number 42 car and the number 19, a big orange car and a yellow and green car going side by side through the tri-oval. Coming into turn 1, we've got the 42 on the inside. Does he make that pass stick? It looks like he's going to get away with that one, Sean.
Yes, he is, and there he goes. Everybody's still pretty clean. Nobody's out of shape yet.
He's not got it done yet. He hasn't got it done yet. The 19 is hanging in on the high side there, Rudy.
Yeah, the high side is not very good coming out of turn 4, but he does manage to hang on to it and stays back out in the lead ahead of that backpack there. The 42 and the 95 going side by side, and it looks like the 42 has completed the pass on the 95 now. And back here in the pack a little bit further, the 27 of Jarno is coming up on the inside of the 95, and he's looking to pass him.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I was saying earlier. When you stuck out, and we have a wreck there, Rudy, a car bouncing up and down. He is taking some really bad damage. His race has got to be done. Who was that, Sean?
I'm trying to see now. I'm scrolling through the field here.
That was
Looks
our
like,
leader.
well, I see Davey Doohey's off the track.
Yeah, guys, that was
Wow.
Casey Oakham who was rolling there on the front straight.
Yeah, that was our leader. I was going
Good
to go
grief,
back and
it was Kies Jochum. So looks like his day is done. He's taken the tow, so he'll be trying to get there. Remember, there are no fast repairs, so if he's got bad damage, his day's done.
And it was that treacherous coming out of turn 4, Richard, that did him in right there. Got a little bit loose coming out of 4, tried to save it, took it to the inside, and when he cut the wheel to the right, it took him right into the wall. So very unfortunate for our leader.
Yeah, he was really fast as well. So that is a pity, because that takes out one of the fast guys. But of course, what that does do is give the second place guy, Neil Heckens, was one of the organizers of this race, Rudy. It gives him the opportunity to lead a few laps.
Oh, I'll bet you he's excited. He was pretty good in practice as we were watching him, and I think he's just tickled to death now to be up front there. And it's good to see him up front, for organizing this here, to have up there and leading some laps. It's got to be a thrill for him. What do you think, Sean?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, that's a little bit of pride involved with that for sure. I mean, you put an event together, you put a lot of hard work into it, and it's bragging rights, right, guys?
Absolutely. Well, we've got in the second place there, we've got Roy Visser. Now, Roy was also did very well in qualifying. He was up in 6th in the qualifying, so he's now sitting in 2nd place, so he's advanced. Denny Roots, that was the orange number 42 car. He did have a little bobble when he was pushing for that position there, Rudy, and he's now sitting in 3rd place, and Jarno Panakit in 4th, and so on. So the restart will, when they get going once again, we will see if these guys can hang on to those positions or if they'll come under attack, as I'm sure they will from some of the other guys. I would like to mention here that Michael Koenig, in that absolutely beautiful livery that he's got on his truck, Rudy, he's moved right up to 11th place.
Oh, yes. Like I said, he is one of the guys that you're going to want to watch out for come the end of the race. He'll try to keep that truck as clean as possible. And you're absolutely correct on that, Richard. That is a beautiful paint job. I love that paint job.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't know.
think-
Oh, I'm sorry, Richard. I don't know if you guys paid attention on the last caution flag, but Michael was one of those guys who took a pit stop there and went in and got fresh tires and fueled up. So his strategy is now a little bit different than a lot of these guys up front. So watch out for him.
Yeah, he'll be.
Okay, Rudy,
He'll be
so,
off pit.
you
Yeah.
know, tell us a little bit about, explain to the viewers what you can do during a caution with pit stops and how you can gain some advantages out of that.
Well, there's several different pit strategies that we've seen. A lot of guys try the 2-tire pit change, and 2 tires on a track like this can free the truck up a little bit. I've noticed that these trucks are a little bit tight sometimes on exit, and I believe that's what we've seen with our previous leader there.
Kiers
He's-
Jokums.
Yeah, he was a little loose on exit, and maybe he had it just freed up just a little bit, but now they were out there on tires that they had already turned like 10 laps on. 10 laps might be the fall off of the initial new tire, and you might have to get about 20 or 25 laps on them before they start coming back in. So yeah, pit strategies do play a lot in here, whether you want 2 tires, 4 tires, and a lot of people try different things.
Yeah, also the other thing that comes into play here is the fact that you're obviously going to need to try and get as many miles as you can out of a tank of fuel. So the cautions do help, but if you do get an opportunity, I think you'll find guys ducking in to top up. Lap 14 at this point is a good time to top off your fuel as well if you get the opportunity under caution, because you never know at the end of the race that extra bit of fuel that you took on early when it didn't matter if you lost a position or 2 under caution can stand you in good stead at the end of the race, Rudy.
Oh yes, of course. Getting off of your pit sequence with other drivers kind of does give you a little bit of an advantage, I feel. That way you're not
Pace cars
trying to.
ducked in, pace cars in.
I'm sorry.
They're back on the green. Go ahead, Rudy.
Yeah, as our leader pulls away, Neil pulls away by quite a little bit now. Really hooked up and rolling, pulling away from Denny Rates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Neil really got a nice jump on the start there, I'd say, to be honest with you.
And we got Dalton Collins in a Mid-South, another American driver. He had kind of a 95. He just went clean by the 3rd place guy of Denny Rhodes, or Reds, and took over that 2nd place. And now the 42 orange car is under attack once again by that 27 car that we mentioned in the previous stint just before the caution, Rudy.
Yeah, Jarno seems to have it really going on here. As he comes around, he did catch the apron a little bit, but it seemed like it helped him in making that turn and completes the pass on him. And pulls along with him Roy Visser. We were talking about him a little bit ago, and here he comes. He's coming back up to make a challenge.
Yeah, and it looks like the 42, the orange 42 car of Denny Rhodes is going backwards at this point in time, because he's now under attack by Dennis Jeressen in the, not sure, 82 car is that?
Yes.
Coming up behind him, and the 50 car as well. So look for these guys to try and take away his position. He doesn't run a very good line that I can see there, Rudy. He seems to stay a bit on the high side instead of coming in really low. And that leaves him open to attack by anybody who grabs the low line going into the corners.
Of course, yes. You've got to stay on that white line going into the turns and coming out, or somebody will get a nose underneath you. And when they do, they're going to go by you, and they'll just freight train by you. Everybody will go by you on that inside. You can't get back down.
Yeah, that's quite correct. So let's check in on our top guys now, because it seems to me the lead has changed. We have Dalton Collins in the lead now. So he's run Neil Heckens down and passed him, Rudy.
Yes, he is very, very hooked up today. But, you know, Neil right there on his heels, and we have another caution.
Caution once again. Did you see what happened there, Sean?
Well, Eric Mulder was one of the trucks involved. I do know that.
Eric Mulder. Sounds familiar, Mulder. X-Files?
That would be correct. Yes.
And but his name wasn't Eric, I don't believe. It was somebody else, Mulder. But anyway, I'm looking at his car right now, the 23 car, sort of a deep orange car. He's got some damage on the back there, Rudy, so he'll be heading to the pits maybe for some possible optional repairs. No,
Yeah.
he stays right out.
He hit that outside wall again coming out of turn 4. And as we always say, that seems to be the place where a lot of people lose it, coming off of turn 4. There's quite a little transition from the turn to the straightaway, and if you don't hit that just correctly, it will make you loose.
Absolutely. The car is naturally loose coming out of turn 4 there. And if you've got others around you, the air that, the push of the air that gets created can quickly push a car into the wall. Isn't that right?
Yes, as we're seeing a lot of the drivers coming down on pit road now, but we've got a few of our leaders that are staying out. Roy Visser's staying out, Neil staying out, and Dalton Collins, our leader, they're all staying out. I believe they may have short pitted earlier and want to stay out on these tires.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly right, Rudy. All these guys that are in the pits right now, and I'm just watching them, I'll see if they're taking, yes, looks like most of them are taking 4 tires, Rudy, which is probably a good thing to do this early in the race. 20 laps gone, 21 actually, so it might be a time to take 4 tires if you haven't pitted before. And most of these guys in the pits right now have not pitted. The other guys out front that have stayed out, looks like they did do the short pit early on, so they elected to stay out because their tires are reasonably fresh, and also they've done quite a few laps of the field that they've got.
That's correct. Sean, did we get a lucky dog on that caution?
We did. Davey Doogie got one, and so he's going to get back on the lead lap with everybody. Looks like Jarno Panakit was the first one off of that mad dash on pit road. Looks we had about a dozen drivers decided to come in and pit there.
Very good, very good. Well, Dalton's still leading them around here, followed by Neil, and we've got Roy Visser, right there in third. So what do you think about the race so far here, Richard?
Well, too many cautions as far as I'm concerned, Rudy. We would have hoped not to have seen, what is this, the 3rd caution now in 20 laps? That's a fair bit of caution laps that they're driving. It might save them some fuel, but doesn't make for very exciting racing.
Well, you know, I've rarely seen a race here run with the trucks that there hasn't been a lot of cautions. It does kind of bring on some heated track involvement out there, though. Sometimes the guys get a little upset at one another, but you know, when you're loose on the track to begin with, it's kind of hard to get, you know, upset about anybody else, you know, wrecking or anything like that. But some people, I don't know, they just don't. They got to be patient out here. Patience is a very, very strong key on this track. What do you think, Sean?
Well, yeah, no, you said it, Rudy, for sure. I mean, you have to be patient here. We talked about it before the race started. You know, maybe sometimes the best strategy is to kind of lay back. I've seen several drivers already in chat here say how that they were just going to kind of bide their time for like maybe the first 100 laps, lay back, kind of let the race come to them, and be ready to go for that last 40 to 30 laps.
I think that's a very, very strong key here is just kind of racing the track, not each other, get the laps run down. Because here we are only on lap 23 out of 134 and already had 3 cautions. So impatience is showing out here. And hopefully these guys get that in check and start getting some green flag laps in here. I would really like to see some green flag pit stops. That is exciting racing. I think that brings it all to the driver. What do you think,
Absolutely
Richard?
agree with that. And you know, at the moment, let me just run through the field here for you. So Dalton Collins from the Mid-South, car number 95, a lovely looking car as well, is now leading this race. Neil Heckens, the organizer of the race, he is in second place. So very, very good run from him. Roy Fisser up near the top in third place, as he's been all day. Denny Rates also in fourth place at this point in time, holding station. He's been around the third, fourth place for most of the race. And then we have the others. But notably, Rudy, Chris Kessler is now up into sixth place. So that's a big improvement from where he started. And we've got Ben Hogan, Dennis Jerison, and Jarno Panakit. I think that is somebody we need to look out for because he's been having a very, very good race so far. As the pace car ducks in, back to you, Rudy.
Yeah, and boy, 95, he jumped. The starter, Dalton, just took right off. And man, did he pull away from the field. Everybody's starting to single file, and I think this is going to be a key here, the single file. And like I said, race this track out a little bit before we start going double file and racing each other.
Absolutely.
John?
With 134 laps, the last thing you want to do on lap 25 is race somebody. I would rather, let off from the gas just a little bit rather than try and risk some damage or getting into the wall by racing somebody. Although, as I'm looking at Chris Kessler at the moment, he's got his eye on the guy in front of him, which is Denny Rates in the orange car. So let's see how this pans out. At this point, definitely all of them have learned the lesson, I think, and they're all single file. So let's hope it stays that way for many, many green laps.
Sean, what's going on with Michael Koenig back here? He is up to the 10th position. Can you give us a little bit of info on him?
Yeah, Michael's running hard. He's in a three-car battle here right now, or three-truck, if you will, and working the draft right now, keeping up, and I don't know. I think he's got plenty left in that truck. He's not been into trouble to get his way to the front, so he's looking good right now. Like I said, he's just working with 2 other trucks, keeping it clean, and they're making progress on the rest of the field.
Yeah, as I was watching Cohen right there ahead of him, did tap the wall a little bit in the front stretch. Not enough to cause any damage, but probably enough to got his attention. But yeah, these 3 here really battling hard as the front leaders are all single file, as they should be on this track. They're
keep your eyes on Neil Heckens at the moment in the 41 white and black and orange car. He is starting to mount a challenge on Dalton Collins and doing a great job at the moment, still single file behind him, but he does have a little bit of a peak every so now and again. Dalton Collins has wised up and he's hugging that white line so as to not give Neil Heckens any opportunity to get inside him. But now Neil Heckens definitely has a look on the inside, falls back into line once again, and now looks again to the inside, and this time he might have something because
we got one
we had Dalton Collins staying wide. Go ahead, please.
Got one, went through the grass there on the front stretch. Eric Mulder
but it didn't bring out
The
the
X-Files.
caution.
That's the X-Files guy.
Yes, it is, and he kept it under control. He's back on the track and no yellow flag.
Great.
Well, good on him for doing that.
Yeah, as Dalton continues to battle here with Neil, that is some great racing going on up in the front. But, you know, it's something I was looking at back here a little ways. Ben Hogan has moved up through this field quite a bit and is coming, making a charge toward the front of the field. He's passed a lot of trucks there.
And have a look at Roy Fisser, guys. This Roy Fisser now, he has connected up with the leading two, and his car is looking strong. His truck, sorry, is looking very strong. And I would be looking for him perhaps to start sizing these other two up. As we see Neil Heckens going to the inside, I think he's going to make a move there now, Rudy. He's definitely on the inside of Dalton Collins, and coming out of turn 4, that is very, very risky. Dalton is forced wide, and so Neil Heckens definitely has the advantage here right now.
Yes, as Roy Visser looks right there, he's right on the back bumper and trying to go with him. If these two could draft down the backstretch, they may have something for him going into turn 3. Coming out of turn 4 could be a little bit treacherous.
Yeah, it looks like Dalton is doing a good job up high there. Not the place you want to be, I have to say. Whoa, and he comes right down. He nearly got right into Neil Heckens there. They are getting a bit loose there, as you know, as the draft, the airflow from the various trucks are pushing each other around, Rudy.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Sean, we're seeing some other battles right behind these guys as this front pack here has all gaggled up together. Can you give us some input of what's going on right there in the pack?
Yeah, we've got Kessler and Garrison and Paniquete and Hogan all right there, just mixing it up, going from one group to the next, and pretty wild racing right now. I mean, they're running fast, really fast, and you know, oh man, he just slid right off the bumper there. Yeah, some really great racing going on right now. Just hope they can all keep it in line and avoid the caution. Oh, he got a little loose on the bottom there. Ooh.
Dalton Collins, his truck is very loose at the moment, coming out of the corners or going in as well, and he's gone backwards from first place. He's now in 4th place. He's under threat right now from Ben Hogan. Chris Kessler has passed him. Roy Fisser has passed him. Neil Heckens is leading the race at the moment, and I think Neil's truck is looking really, really strong there, Rudy.
Absolutely, and I think Roy Visser's just setting him up for a good pass here, as they're all a little bit loose coming out of turn 4. We see every one of them. You can watch the tail of them trucks wiggle just a little bit coming off of that turn, and that's highly notable about this track every time we run here. Sean?
Yeah, it is. You're right, and you know, again, these top 8 trucks right here are just running so hard right now. I'm wondering if maybe a few of them have maybe started to burn up those tires just a little bit. And that's why we're seeing someone like Dalton, who's now making a move on Kessler, maybe get a little loose. But you know, that's one thing with these tires here; they come and go depending on how hard you drive it. So you've got to watch that throughout the race.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's just talk about tires for a little bit. The tires on these trucks, they're very, very fast for the first few laps. And then they tend to go right off, don't they, Rudy? And then after a little while, you have to kind of just try and cool them off a bit. And then they seem to come back, and sort of a few laps later, you're strong again on the same tires. And then they go off completely, and you've got to change them because then they're hopeless. Isn't that right, Rudy?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we're seeing Dalton Collins did get by Chris Kessler to move back into that 3rd position. But we have a new leader.
Fisser has mounted a challenge on Heckens. He's got by Heckens, and he's now leading the race, Rudy.
Yes, great job by him. That was a good, clean pass. And them two really battling it out nose to tail. And you were right about that, going back to what you were saying about the tires. We're seeing a lot of the drivers struggling a little bit. Our previous leader there, Dalton Collins, I believe what he did was he kind of backed off a little bit, cooled them tires off, and then he mounted another challenge to get back up there and passed Chris Kessler for the third spot. Sean?
Yes, he did, and it's working for him because looks like he's gaining a little bit every lap. But Neil Heckens is really working on Visser here. He wants to get back to the point, and that's where the clean air is at, and the best run is at, and he's working on it. But here comes Dalton again, going into turn 4 here, and he's making a run up to him, and Kessler's right behind. It's an amazing battle up front here. They're running flat out. We're finally getting some consistent green flag laps that we were looking for earlier.
Absolutely, and one of the drivers that I'm just having a look at the moment is Michael Koenig. Now, Michael Koenig, he's kind of falling back a little bit and having a little private battle here with car number 50, and that is the car of Jos Van Voorn. So these guys, still early days in the race yet, so they're just laying back a little bit by the looks of it, and seeing if they can get an opportunity to catch up at the front too. But the action is definitely up at the front with Dalton Collins now mounting a challenge once again on Neil Heckens. He is right behind him. Will he go to the inside? He does. Neil Heckens did not cover that line, Rudy, and now he's forced to the outside. He does get pretty close as they come out of the turn 4 there, gets close to Collins, but he's been forced to the outside line, and Collins retakes the lead in the race, Rudy.
Absolutely. I felt like maybe Dalton was a little bit challenged when he was on the outside there previously. When he went to the back, he might have been a little bit challenged by these guys. The outside is not a fun place to be when you're coming through that quad oval. And he was a little bit challenged by that and got loose, and that's why he went back, cooled them tires off, and is now back out in the lead. And we've got Visser right on his tail, ready to pounce.
And it seems to me that sorry, I've just missed the name now. What Neil Heckens is doing at the moment is what Collins did previously, and that is just cooling off a little bit so that he can make. They're all still nose to tail. There's no question that anybody's getting away from anybody else. So the top guys at the moment, Dalton Collins now, he's been pushed to the outside once again. Roy Visser is the one challenging him, and looks like Roy Visser might go ahead and take the number 1 place. Just behind them, you've got another double group with Kessler and Heckens. It looks almost like a restart, a very, very fast restart with them double file, Rudy, as they get very close to each other coming into the quad oval. Very dangerous stuff there. Chris Kessler keeps it down low. Neil Heckens stays up high, and now under attack by Jarno Panakit, who now challenges the 41 car, and he's on the inside. One would imagine he might well get that position, but Heckens holds on, and they're very close to each other. I don't like the looks of this at all, Rudy.
No, this is the dangerous part of the race. But you know, these tires, I think, have reached a comfort level. Like we were talking, when you get about 20 laps on the tires, they start getting a little bit more grip coming off the turns. And I think the guys are getting a little braver to start making these passes. They've coming up on completing 48 laps already now. We've had a good long green flag run, and looks like Chris Kessler now going to challenge Visser on the inside, and he's going to go into the second spot. Great run, and already
he's having a very good run, and he's right on the back, and he's going to the inside now of Dalton Collins, and looks like he might move into the number 1 position, having started in something like 30th place. I am not surprised by that, to be honest. These guys do a lot of oval racing and a lot of racing in the trucks. So we shall see how it all pans out. We're still a long way from the finish. I like the looks of Roy Visser. He's been keeping it really, really straight and fast. And also Jarno Panakit doing a great job here in 4th place at the moment, Rudy.
Yeah, as Chris does complete that pass on Dalton, Dalton kind of figured out a little bit how to go through that quad oval and did it a lot better. Now looks to the inside of Chris. Chris went up a little bit. Oh, and he
Oh,
tapped Chris and sent
and
Chris into the
did he
wall.
get a tap there or did he just lose it?
No, I believe it looks to me like he may have gotten a tap. There may have been a little bit of net coating involved in that too.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. Didn't seem to me like there was a touch. It just, but then again, it looked like, in fact, without them actually touching, that he got a bump, and that's what you were talking about, this net code, where the iRacing can't quite work out whether the cars are next to each other and touching, or on screen it looks like they're not. But in fact, as far as iRacing is concerned, they have actually made contact. And that's unfortunate because Chris Kessler was having a great run up to that point, Rudy.
Yeah, Sean, Chris Kessler coming down on pit road. What do you think's going to happen to him here as he comes on pit road?
Rudy, he's going to need repair. I mean, he's hurt, so he's going to need to come in and get as much repair as he can. Maybe he'll go for a short repair, try and settle the lead lap, but I don't think he's going to be able to at this point due to the fact that he was pretty slow after he made that contact there.
Yeah, and now Dalton back out in the lead, followed by Roy Visser. And these front four here really battling it out. Jarno's up in the hunt now. He's in the third spot. And Dennis Garrison in fourth. Those two have been battling for pretty much most of the race here and staying up where, you know, they're within the reach of the win. They got a long ways to go. We're coming up on the halfway mark here soon. Richard?
Yeah, I really do like the looks of the top three. They've been running very, very clean, but now they are being joined by Dennis Garrison, and he is side by side going into turn 4 with the Jarno Panakit, and that's just, I always get nervous when I see these guys running that close to each other, coming through that quad oval, because it's really dangerous there. Jarno now squeezing him a little bit, pushing him up really high, and trying to duck at the same time under Roy Visser. So these guys are not pulling any punches anymore, Rudy. They're going for it at the moment.
Yeah, it may be a little early, but everybody wants to stay up within reach of the top spot, of course. But now Jarno looks to the inside of Roy Visser to take over that second spot. As they come down the backstretch side by side, great battle going on up in the front here. These top five kind of distancing themselves from the rest of the field just to battle it out. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, it's a great battle up front. You know, I'm watching a couple of other battles here. We got a good one going on here between Thymen Neighbors and Joshua Frank. They're side by side, and Thymen on the inside trying to make a move on him here for position going into one, and looks like he's got it. But really some close racing going on back here in the field between 11th and 12th and 9th and 10th there. Ben Hogan having a good run, and here we go. Joshua Frank coming back under Thymen, kind of just pulling the switch. Oh, and a little bit of contact, but they make it through clean and back across the start-finish line.
All right.
Yeah, well, great battle just back here. I'm looking at Joshua Frank. He's got some damage on the rear of his truck there. It doesn't seem to be slowing him down, but his aerodynamics won't be the best at this point in time. Great battle here with the 299 car of Thymen Beers and also Joshua Frank. Going back behind these guys, you've got Josh Van Horn, who was up a lot further than that previously, but he's fallen back. As we see a couple of guys going down pit road there, Rudy, under green, so that's a little bit strange. Let's see what's happening in the pits there. Back to you.
Yeah, we've got our leader, Dalton Collins, and Roy Visser coming down on pit road, joined by a few others here. This is green flag pit stop, so let's see what their pit strategy is going to be here, Sean.
Yeah, going in trying to take a look at it. I see Kessler's coming in also. No, I'm sorry. Kessler's finally heading out. Kessler's heading out. A long repair for him after that scrape at the wall and contact earlier.
Okay, well, the leaders, the previous leaders, I should say, have pitted, and it looks like Visser's going to come out ahead of Collins on that pit stop. They did 4-tire change, topped off their tanks of fuel, and they're away. But getting back up to, we have a new leader, Dennis Garrison, followed by Jarno. Jarno right there looking to head on the inside of him. And these guys have not pitted yet. Richard?
Interesting, very interesting. As they get extremely close to each other right now, Jarno has this habit of pushing the car that is next to him quite high, and that gives him as a good angle going into the turn. But I have to say that Dennis Garrison is equal to the task, and working from up high there has managed to keep Jarno at bay. So these two are having a great battle up here near the front. Going a little way back, we have Koen Geerts in third place, a fraction behind them, so he's doing a great job. And Michael Koenig a little way back, running in clean air and by himself. Then going into currently into fifth place, the 299 car of Thymen Beers. He's now moved up thanks to the pit stops of the other guys. He's moved up into fifth place. So all happening at the moment. And as we go to the older leaders, the guys who were leading before, Roy Visser and Dalton Collins, let's check in with them and see how they're going, Rudy.
Yeah, Roy Visser running in the 14th spot at the moment because they pitted, obviously. And I'm looking back here, Dalton in the 16th spot now. So definitely lost a lot on that pit stop. I didn't see him slide through his pit or anything, but he had a much longer pit stop than Visser did, and they come out 14th and 16th, and they're back out on the track.
You know, guys, if a caution were to come out right here, there'd be some of our former leaders in a lot of trouble, a lap down.
Yes, sir.
Well,
You're
that's right,
absolutely
because they put it under green, obviously, and if a caution comes out now, they lose all advantage that they might have gained from pitting early. However, if it does stay green for another 10 or 15 laps, what that means is all the other guys who stayed out, hey, they have to pit, and that brings these guys back up to the front again. So I want to have a look at some of the names that we haven't mentioned at all during the broadcast and see if we can see what they're doing. So let's go to 9th place, Mark Figueres. We haven't spoken about him. Looking at his truck, yellow, a little bit of damage on the rear there. So, but he's traveling around quite by himself at the moment, not under attack or under threat from anyone. Although behind him is Roy Visser. So Roy, one would imagine, will be catching up with him because he's one of the really fast guys. Also, Neil Heckens. Oh, dear. Just as I went to Neil, he's involved in an accident with another car, and that car is Roy Visser. So that is tragic for these two guys. These were front runners at one stage, Rudy.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for him because it looks like maybe he come up on the number 50 there. Let's see, the number 50 of Jos Van Horn. Yeah, those two getting tangled up together. Looks like Jos might have lost it. Maybe trying to get a little bit too close and get some side draft, but definitely way too close enough to bring out a caution here. That brings that takes Roy Visser up into the wall. I don't think he got any damage, but he did brush the wall.
He did get damage. I'm looking at Roy Visser's car. He's got damage on the left rear, so he'll be heading into pit lane. No, he stays out because bearing in mind he had just pitted previously, so he thinks his car is in good enough shape for him to stay out there. In front of him is Neil Heckens, who was also involved in that melee, but he doesn't seem to have much damage at all. If he has got damage, it must all be on the front. So these guys now move up into 1 and 2 respectively, as we'll see when they come by the line once again. But again, we're now on a caution, and it might be an opportunity for us to take a quick break and grab a glass of water or something. So over to you, Director.
Welcome back here to the gathering of the tweakers here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We've had a few cautions here, but a long green flag run. Dennis Garrison out in the lead now, followed by Yarno and Cohen. Michael Koenig in fourth, Joshua Frank in fifth. So getting ready to go back to green flag racing as the pace car ducks off. Dennis leading them down. Does get the green flag, and here we go, back to racing. As he pulls out by a little bit. Yarno trying to hang on. Yarno was very strong there before the caution. These guys battling so hard up in the front here, putting on one great show for our viewers. As now Michael Koenig on the outside of Cohen. Michael, one of our strong racers here, Richard.
Absolutely. Getting a little bit close and trying to get onto the inside there of Thaman Nabirs, who's running a great race. Started from a little way back and now up into third place and running pretty strongly. Michael Koenig doing a great job there. Behind them, we've got Joshua Frank with a damaged car on the rear, but still doing a great job. And going behind them, we've got this Thaman Neighbors, as we spoke about, Nabirs. Michael Carter.
We have another
Behind them,
caution.
We have another caution by the looks of it. I'm getting information of another caution, Rudy.
Yes, looks like Joost van Horn getting, looks like he just got loose coming out of turn number 2.
Gosh, that's unfortunate. We only had about 2 or 3 laps, 2 laps on the green, and now we're back onto the caution again. But will give us an opportunity to have a good look at some of the guys that we haven't been looking at before while they're under caution. So once we've got the replay done, which our good director has been playing for us, once the replay is done, we'll take a good look at the standings now, Rudy, and then see where we're at with some of these guys who were not being featured as being anywhere near the front at the beginning of the race, and now find themselves in really good positions.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking at this replay, and it looked like the 95 here of Dalton Collins, that was some major net code. He just, like, all of a sudden his truck was to the left and then to the right, and I don't know what happened there. He was trying.
I'll tell you what I think is happening here. Most of the races that we look at are done in on the American servers in iRacing. It looks to me, just looking at some of the connection times, it looks like this race is actually being run on an Australian server. So most of the European and especially the American drivers are a long way from Australia, and the net code is going to affect them more than anyone else. Now that is just a technical thing with iRacing for those viewers who don't know how it works, but certainly the American guys or even some of the European guys are such a long way from Australia that it takes time for the information to go from the server to Australia and back to where these people are at. And that is what's bringing some of these netcode issues to the front, Rudy.
Absolutely. Jarno back out in the lead now. Yeah, and the net coding, like you were saying, is the difference between, the people we're playing people here on the same track from all over the world right now. And for those to be on that split-second timing, it's virtually impossible. There's glitches no matter where you're at through the internet. And it's very unfortunate that, these guys get caught up in things like that. But that's the way it is when you run, with other people from around the world. It's to be expected.
Absolutely correct. Now, Neil, Rudy, I believe you were going to make an announcement about the sponsorship.
Yes. Yeah, I would really like to thank our sponsor in part here. Hayes Heckens is one of our sponsors here, and I'd like to make a thank you out to him for sponsoring this race.
And, I believe Hayes Heckens, I believe that's Neil's father. I think I remember Neil's mentioning in pre-race that's his dad, who's kind of helped his blossoming race career.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I did not know that. And where is Neil running at right now? Neil back in 14th?
Heckens.
Back in 14th. Oh, he's in the pits. Okay, yeah. It looks like he's got quite a little bit of damage on that truck.
Yeah, he does. Well, it looks like I may have been incorrect in my assessment of the server. I'm getting information that they believe the server is the server in Holland, which is where most of these guys are at. Still, it does mystify me because I've got a 0.33 or 33 hundredths of a second connection time to the server, which normally I wouldn't get unless I'm in Australia. But such as it is, we are back under caution. It seems to me that the lights are out, Rudy, so we'll be getting a start very, very soon.
Hey guys, just a development here, real quick. It looks like Dalton Collins has taken himself out of the race.
Oh,
Well-
that is pretty bad, or pretty sad, I should say, because he's been a strong front runner for most of the race.
Yeah, and I believe that was probably due to connection issues. I seen he was typing there that he was trying to fix it, but obviously he couldn't fix it. So yeah, very unfortunate for him. Very strong runner, and we'd like to give a shout out to you, Dalton. Great race today, and thank you for for removing yourself from the server for that connection issues. And sorry about your race. All right, the lights are off on the pace car. Jarno bringing him around as the pace car's getting ready to make that hard left turn onto pit road. And we're going back to green flag racing here in just a second. And Jarno taking off, and green, 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 here we go.
Good stuff. It's always a good thing to be in first place when you do a restart, because nobody else knows when you're going to take off, and you always tend to get the jump on the other guys simply by being in the first position. So that's a pleasure went to Jarno for this particular restart. He's now followed by Dennis DeRessen. So Dennis doing a great job. He was way down in the beginning of the race, or much further than he is now, and now he finds himself in second place.
Caution out again.
Do we have another caution?
Yes.
Dear oh dear, that's like 4 laps and 2 cautions.
Yeah, this is the thing that we talk about all the time. In this race particular, this track kind of a little bit of on the challenging side, and when you're coming up side by side, sometimes in that quad oval can be very dangerous. Somebody doesn't know you're on the inside, and that's exactly what happened to Ben Hogan.
So Ben Hogan was involved in that one.
Yeah, Eric Mulder come down into Ben Hogan, and he probably did not know that Ben was there.
Well, I'm looking at Ben at the moment. It doesn't look like he's got any damage, and he's still circulating. He hasn't come into the pits yet, but Eric Mulder, on the other hand, Mr. X-Files, he has got damage on both sides of the rear of his car right now, and it looks like he might even have some damage on the front as well. So I think a visit to pit road is what he'll be thinking about right now.
Yeah, it looks like Mulder coming out of the dog leg there off of 4. He just came down a little bit too far, and unfortunately that's what brought out our caution.
All of our leaders coming down on pit road now. Jarno coming down, Michael Koenig. So these guys wanting to top off their tanks with fuel, get 4 fresh tires, and get back out there. That's going to relinquish the lead to Dennis Garrison.
Well, remember we were talking early on about number of laps that you can get on a set of tires, and on a fuel full tank of fuel. And it looks to me like they're within that final stop window now, even though we are looking at 80, we're looking at 54 laps to go. Do you think they can do that on fuel? They'll struggle on tires, though.
I don't know if I think they might be able to make it on fuel. This could be the final pit stop for them. But I see everybody taking 4 tires, and they've come back out. Jarno back out, Michael Koenig back out, and both of those have taken 4 tires.
Yeah, they need to do that. If you're going to do a 54-lap run, you're going to need to be very, very easy on your tires, because normally these tires won't last 50 laps.
You're exactly right. Dennis Garrison is, I believe, off a pit sequence. That's why he has stayed out. He's not on the same pit sequence as Jarno was, or Michael Koenig. So him staying out on these older tires and Cohen right there too, and Mark behind him, Jack Toms, let's see, Denny Rates. These guys all staying out ahead of Yarno, and now they're going to be on a little bit older tires for this restart than Yarno has. Now Yarno's going to be fast on a couple laps, and then he's going to find that slick position for a few laps until the tires start coming back in. So how did the pit stops go there, Sean? Did everybody make a 4-tire change, the ones that pitted?
We don't seem to have Sean with us at the second,
Oh,
but
okay.
I was watching the pit stops as well, and yes, most of them, if not all of them, took 4 tires, and obviously topped off their fuel. So it's going to be very, very interesting after this restart if they can get a few green flag laps under their belt. But by the way it's going now, I don't think that will happen, and we will have another caution. That may give people an opportunity to come in and grab another set of tires because they still got a long way to go. We're on lap 81 out of 134, so still a very long way to go, Rudy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. 50 laps, 54 laps. That's quite a few laps to turn here. And if these guys have not pitted up in the front, they're going to have to make one more pit stop, I believe, because there's no way they can get the rest of these laps in. Cautions kind of play into that a little bit. You can cruise around here, in high gear and try to save a little bit of fuel. But lights are off on the pace car as they're all doubling back up and getting ready to line up to go back to green flag racing here. Richard?
Yeah, the crowd has been thinned out a little bit. A whole bunch of cars out of the race as we speak at this point in time. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 10 cars out of the race. So the field has thinned down a little bit, but we've still got a very, very big bunch of cars in the race, and it's still going to be a dogfight to the end. 52 laps to go, so we'll see how this all pans out. I hope we have a lot of green flag laps there, Rudy.
Yeah, they're getting ready to come around here out of turn 4, going into turn 3 now. Coming out of turn 4, the pace car is going to duck off, and we're going to go back to green flag racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And fingers crossed for a bunch of green flag laps. We see the pace car still out there, but momentarily he will duck in as he has done. And back to you, Rudy.
All right, and Dennis jumping the start again as the leader. He gets that advantage over the rest of the field and pulls away.
I'm sorry, Rudy. He was shot out of a cannon right there. He dropped the hammer and was gone.
Absolutely. Cohen now in second, falling back just by about maybe a second. But these two here battling it out really, really strong. Mark trying to get a run on him as they hook up going into turn 3. Coming out of turn 4, staying on that high side. Haven't seen anybody tap that wall yet. But as these guys here out in the front on a little bit older tires. But look out, folks, because here comes Yarno in the 4th spot, and he's up there with 4 fresh feel goods on that truck. Mark Koenig now ducking to the inside of the 27 truck, looking to save that position and gets a run on some of these other guys. Wow, did he ever power by them as he rolls into the 4th spot now, Richard?
Well, guys, I'm looking further back. You remember Roy Visser? He was involved in a bit of an accident, had to pit and all that. He now is sitting in 9th place. His truck, looks pretty strong at the moment. Behind him, we also have Ben Hogan, who is coming up on Visser. They're all checking up there for some reason, and Ben Hogan almost got into the back of Visser again. Commentators curse on these guys. I better get off them straight away. Eric Mulder behind this lot as well. So just in front of Eric Mulder, we've got a nice pack from Ben Hogan to Roy Fisser, Denny Reitz, Thaman Neighbors, and Joshua Frank, all in a big pack. And these guys, the front runners, pretty spread out now at this point in time. So the big battle is down back, and we have Fisser tapping the wall there. A little bit of damage, but shouldn't slow him down. Unfortunate for him, his truck's not handling that well. So, guys, much better look to the race at this point, as we have many less guys in the field at this point in time. Maybe we'll get some green flag racing.
Hey, Richard, we almost had a caution there. Thyman Neighbors, he took quite a ride through the infield there across the start-finish line. He was able to gather it back up and back on the track, but that almost brought out a caution.
Yeah, and Roy Fisser kind of just brushed the wall a little bit here as he was going through that turn 4. It's always happening on turn 4, isn't it, Rudy?
Yeah, absolutely. Either in turn 4 or on that front stretch in the dog leg.
Oh, our leader's in the grass. Our leader's in the grass.
Oh, he took quite the ride across the grass. Dennis Garrison comes down off the pit road there, but saves it coming around turn 2. Stays well off of the racing surface, so he doesn't cause any caution. And great job, great save by Dennis.
That was a wild ride. I've done that a few times myself, and it feels like the car is totally out of control. You're just hoping and praying you can knock the thing and get it back on the track. He did a job in safe, but of course he's lost a whole bunch of positions there with him.
Yeah, as Cohen now takes over the lead, Michael Koenig in second, and Yarno in the third spot. And this is what we feared. Yarno out there with them 4 fresh tires, running down these guys that have a little bit older tires. I think he's going to be a voice to be reckoned with before the end of this race as they take lap 91.
Absolutely, and Yarno is fast. There's no two ways about it. The guys in front of him, Michael Koenig has taken a steady as she goes approach, and he now finds himself in second position. And Koen Gerards is in first place. We shall have to see what the mettle is of Koen Gerards as these other guys come up and start to challenge him. Doing a good job at the moment there, Rudy, but we shall see.
Absolutely, yeah. He out there with a little bit older tires, but like I said, when you got a little age on these tires, there is a spell in there where they run really, really well. And like you said earlier, when the fall off comes, it comes hard on you. Michael Koenig now getting passed by Yarno. Yarno going into the second spot. So great job out there by Yarno with them 4 fresh tires as he sets his sight on our leader Cohen out here. And trying to get a run. Michael Koenig is right there in the third spot, staying on his bumper. These 3 battling it out really hard, John.
Yeah, yes, they are. Great race up here. You know, Richard talked about Koenig earlier in the race as we were getting started today. And here he is up here running the top 3. Looks like if he can keep it clean, he's going to be a factor in the end.
And guys, just behind them, there's a little pack of 3 cars. Joshua Frank and Ben Hogan, who are quite fancy. Ben Hogan's been running a pretty good race. He hasn't had a lot of luck. And then we've got Mark Figueres in front of them. So these 3 have been battling since the restart, actually. And they've been swapping positions. And what's happened now is that Michael Hogan has taken over that particular place, which... sorry, it's Ben Hogan. It's the 6th place, or 5th place actually now, because Mark Figueres is behind him. And that's a useful position to be in. He's got some ground to make up on the others, but he's in a very useful position to mount a challenge to the front runners if there is another caution.
You know, I don't know if anybody else is seeing this, but I'm seeing Hogan blink a little bit. Looks like he's maybe having some issues and he's loose, but he's still holding position Although Mark is making a move on him right now to the inside, going into one.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
been doing this since the restart, Sean. Now you see Denny Wrights joining them as well. So they've been running in this little three-car pack. If they a little bit clever about it, they could help each other try to pull themselves back up to the top. But now we have a fourth car joining in, and that is Joshua Frank, who just zooms past all of them. And looks like he is now after Ben Hogan, who's made a little bit of a getaway. And you're right, Sean, Ben Hogan is in fact blinking quite badly at times.
Yeah, and guys, we've got about 37 laps here to finish this race. And I think our leaders out here, some of the leaders, Yarno especially, I believe is probably going to be able to make it on fuel. Michael Koenig still hanging on third, but Yarno right on the back bumper of Cohn, doing a great job out here. Cohen staying out there with those older tires seems to be challenging our Yarno pretty well out there on older tires.
Garrison's back up to, I'm sorry, Richard. Garrison's back up to 11th. Just took 10th spot and is making his way back up through the field here. And don't look now, but here comes Neil Heckins, too. He's making his way back up through the field.
I was about to say that, Sean, that Neil Heckins, his car looks pretty strong now again. He's had some repairs done and got tires and fuel. And he's making his way forward. At the moment, he is behind Mark Figueres, who we were talking about just before. He hasn't made any impression on Mark at this point in time, so I would expect him to put a challenge on as they go through the front section of the course. He does that as I speak. He goes to the inside. There is no challenge or no fight, I should say, from the gentleman behind him, Mark Figueres. So he takes that spot pretty easily, and he will now set his sights on the two guys in front of him, which is Denny Wrights, Joshua Frank, and Ben Hogan. Now those are the three we were talking about earlier, having a little battle of their own.
Yeah, as these guys are battling side by side, Denny Wrights really trying to get by Joshua Frank, as those two have been battling for quite a few laps now with Ben Hogan. But Ben Hogan has pulled out away from them by a little bit, and he's trying to reel in our leaders, running in the fourth spot, having a good day out here. Got a little bit of nose damage, but I don't think it's anything to affect him. Something that we really haven't talked about too much, Richard, is the draft here. Draft, not a huge thing here, but it does help, like on the back stretch and the front stretch. And as we see, our leaders have kind of spread out a little bit. Michael Koenig now falling back a little bit, but these front two are hooked up nose to tail and pulling each other around the track. Sean?
Yes, they are. Jarno Paniket is staying close, but not really making any ground. And Koenig, having lost those front two, doesn't seem to be making any ground either. In fact, he looks like he's falling back and fading just a little bit, and beginning to wonder if maybe his tires are starting to fall off a little bit after racing so hard with these guys after that last caution.
Yeah. That's what we're gonna see here is a little bit of tire fall off. Even Jarno out there with fresher tires than Cohen, he could start seeing some fall off too. Because now we're coming to 30 laps to go here in this race. Richard?
Yeah, the thing is, when you set up your truck for Charlotte, you can set it up nice and tight, which is what I tend to do. Or you can set it up pretty loose. I believe Michael sets his truck up very loose. And when you have a really loose truck, your tires tend to not last as long as when you have a tighter setup. With a tighter setup, you're not as fast, but your tires will last a lot longer. So I've seen it with Michael in any number of races that he will be fast in the beginning, and as the race wears on, where others with tighter setups can save their tires, Michael will tend to fall off more and more as the race goes on. But let's hope that he gets some more life in the tires and can come back at these two guys. It might just be that he's being cagey and just playing it, cool. And what am I hearing? A caution?
Yeah, we've got Jack Toms is off the track and into the wall.
Ouch.
Yes, he did. He went for a ride out across the grass there. I was looking at it. He looked like that dreaded coming off of turn 4 again, Richard.
Yeah, and he's 20 laps down. So, I mean, it just obviously he's been dealing with more problems than that today.
Yeah, he takes one heck of a ride down there to mow the grass on the front stretch, and but is on pit road now, trying to get a little bit of that damage fixed up. And I don't know, he might have a little bit too much damage to try to get back out on the track. And it looks like maybe he did take his truck behind pit wall. And as everybody comes off of pit road here, we've got our leaders have come off of pit road. Cohen back out here in the first spot. This is going to change the whole complexion of this race here, Richard, as everybody's going to have fresh tires. Yarno back out in second. Oh, now they're coming down on pit road. Excuse me. I thought they had already pitted, but they're all coming down on pit road now.
Now, as a driver, this is exactly what I would have wanted. A flag right about now. Nice yellow flag. Come in,
Yeah.
get 4 tires, and get back out there and run hard for 25 laps.
Okay, guys. So what we've got is a 30 or so lap sprint race now. So why don't we take a break right now and then come back and call the last 30 laps?
All right, welcome back here to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Gathering up the tweakers here as Jarno takes off here and leads this race so far. Has pulled away from the rest of the field by quite a little bit on that restart. Neil Heckens back here in second. Got a little damage on the front of that nose, but it doesn't seem to be affecting his performance here today. Right behind him, Cohen was one of our leaders coming up through the field as Michael Koenig now tries to get a run on him. Coming in turn 3, they all stay low, trying to protect that position. Sean?
Yeah, it's nose to tail, and Koenig is all over his bumper of Garrett Garrett's bumper right now. And the race right behind him, there's a pack pretty wild of 5 cars right behind him. They're close and ready to make a run up to the front. This is going to be an interesting finish.
Well, guys, there's a whole bunch of them at the moment. This is it. It's now a 24-lap sprint to the finish. Everybody's got fuel and tires, so there's no holding back. This is where you start fighting for position. I've gone way back to 9th place looking at Joshua Frank, and looking forward from out of his car, you can see that everyone is fighting as hard as they can for the position just ahead of them. There are challenges everywhere. They're all nose to tail, so look for some very fierce battling and maybe another caution. Let's hope not.
Yeah, as Neil Heckens back here in the 4th position, trying to hang on to the...
Somebody going over the grass, comes back on track, manages to save that reasonably easily. Thank goodness for that, because that could have been nasty.
Yeah, that was Dennis Garrison. I can't believe he held on to that. What an incredible job of holding on to that truck.
Yeah, he's being challenged now on the inside by Joshua Frank. That probably got a little bit of heat, too much heat in them tires, I'm afraid. And it may be hard for him to hang on to that truck now as Dennis comes around. Seems like he's staying ahead of Joshua okay. So maybe that trip across the grass might have cooled the tires off a little bit, Richard.
Yeah, that could help. Maybe we should do that more often when we're racing as well. Doesn't do much if you hit the wall though. But yeah, these guys are really all in battle at the moment. They are pretty much single file as we speak. So we'll go forward from Joshua, and I'm looking at Dennis Garrison. There is a battle going on between himself and Ben Hogan. They are side by side. Ben Hogan's got the inside and Garrison falls in behind. Gave him a little bit of a love tap there as well. And going forward from them, we've got Eric Mulder. He's a little way off the front pack. Now, we seem to have seen Jarno Panicky checked out there, Rudy. So he's leading by quite a little way. And if he can keep that up, then he's going to win this race. But behind him, you've got 4 cars very close to each other. The last in that run is Denny Rates. And then there's Neil Heckens in front of him. Michael Koenig, terrific job from him in 3rd place at the moment. And Koen Gerards is the only one trying to chase down our leader, Jarno Panakit, at the moment. But Jarno doing an absolutely terrific job, Rudy.
Oh, yes. And Cohen now starting to reel in Jarno by a little bit. Jarno just kind of fading just a little, enough to kind of get him back up to his bumper. And if he does get up to his bumper, we could see one heck of a finish here. We only have just a handful of laps to go here. 20 laps to go? Less than 20.
No, 120, 14, 15 laps exactly to go.
Yeah.
At the lap 120 right now, so 14 laps after this one. And you're quite right, he is reeling in Koen Gerard, reeling in Jarno Panakit. This is, Rudy, what we spoke about. The draft is now starting to take effect down the straightaways, and that's where he's getting advantage over Jarno. Every time they go down the front stretch or the back stretch, it gets just a little bit closer.
You're exactly right. Sean, is there any battles going on in the back that we need to be aware of?
Yes, Rudy, there is. Joshua Frank is all over Ben Hogan. He's trying to really make a move on him. He's looking to the inside right now, and he is right off of his bumper. Nice battle going on here for ninth and eighth place, trying to take eighth place. Oh, and Hogan closes the door on him as Hogan just closed the door on Frank. I mean, he slammed it shut, but here comes Frank. Oh, and they just got together to
Caution,
slide
caution will
across.
come
Oh,
from
no.
this. They're going
No.
backwards at the moment. They haven't hit anything just yet. We do have Joshua Frank going across the grass now. We have Ben Hogan up at the top somewhere. I can't see him at this moment. Joshua Frank still struggling to keep his truck under control. He does manage to do that without hitting anything. So, but he's practically in the pits at the moment. So he comes back out on track safely. Thank goodness for that.
That was just some really hard racing by them too, and it looked like Ben Hogan got just a little loose on the outside there, trying to give Joshua Frank all the room he needed on the inside, but just enough that he got too close to that wall, tapped it, and come down into Joshua Frank, and that brings out the caution here on lap 122.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is what we didn't want to see. But what it does do is have a new restart, and we will now have Kun Gerards have an opportunity to make a new attack on Jarno for the lead. And but we've seen Jarno take off like a rabbit down a rabbit hole when the lights go green, or even before the lights go green. So this is going to be quite interesting. We see a few wave bys as well, so it's all happening, as I like to say.
Yeah, and Michael Koenig coming down on pit road. Sean, what's going on there?
You know, he didn't get caught up in anything. This may be strategy. I don't know. Maybe he's looking to make a mad dash here at the end, but I'm not really sure why he's coming down. He's changing two, and looks like he's changing 4 tires. So maybe fresh tires is the answer. I don't know. I don't know if he has enough laps to get it done though.
Yeah, you're right, because we've only got 10 laps to go, and when they get the green flag, we may only have 7 or 8 laps, and this could, I don't know if that was a good call or not, but I guess that's between him and his crew chief, whatever they decided. But if you look back up in the front here, Cohen right there with Jarno going to lead him around, and back under caution here. And while we're under caution, I would like to thank our sponsor here, Taze Heckens, for sponsoring this race. Thank you, Taze.
Well, guys, let me have a few words on this Michael Koenig thing here. I've been thinking about it. He's coming out in what's going to be quite far back, but he's one of 2 guys. There was another guy in the pits as well that have absolutely fresh tires, and these trucks work best when they have fresh tires. But it remains to be seen whether he's got enough of an advantage over the rest of them. As we see another one shooting 2 of them. Well, no, that one doesn't shoot. He only pretends to go into the pits. So getting back to Koenig, will he have enough of an advantage to get to the front? I don't think so, Rudy, because it wasn't that long ago when all of them pitted under caution.
Yeah, and he's going to be restarting from the 11th spot. That's quite a few cars to pass to get back up to the front here with just a handful of laps left. I don't know if he's going to have enough time. Maybe he was just trying to get a top 5 finish or top 10 finish. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see how that's going to play out for him. As they're still under caution coming around here, single file. Jarno leading him around, Cohen in second, Neil third, Denny fourth, Dennis Garrison fifth, Robert sixth, Roy Visser, which is one we were talking about earlier there, Roy Visser, Richard. Roy Visser, very good racer, staying in the top 10 pretty much all day. They're in the 7th spot.
And somebody we haven't even mentioned so far in the broadcast, we have Pascal Lahn, who is in 8th place now, and that is due to the attrition of the race. He finds himself in 8th place. So that is a useful finish for him if he can stay there. Somehow I think he's going to come under a lot of attack from the guys behind him, Mark Figueres, Michael Carter, Michael Koenig. That is the big question mark of this race. Michael Koenig, we know he's fast at the start of a stint. I do notice that he tends to be on the outside now. He will have the inside line on the restart here, so that will give him an advantage over whoever is next to him. But tough time he's got in the 8 or so laps that will be left to try and get to the front. I personally, Rudy, I like Jano for this race at the moment because Jano, he's been strong all race, and we're coming to the closing laps now. The tires are nice and cool. I think that he may well get this race, get the win in this race, if he doesn't get a tap from one of the others challenging hard for position.
You're right, and Yarno probably going to get the jump on this start. So Cohen's going to have to be right on the stick and make sure he's right with him, because they're only going to have just a few laps here to finish this race out. When they come by, it's going to be 7 to go.
Actually, let me just make another comment here. Neil Heckens, who you will remember was running in first and second place very early on in the race. He's in third place at the moment, so he's got an inside line behind Jano. If he gets a really, really good start as the lights go out, so I'll hand it back to you, Rudy.
All right, we're getting ready to go green here, and Yarno does take a jump right there, but you were right, Neil Heckens going with him on the inside. Great start by Yarno as he pulls away from the field. Can he hold that lead? These guys battling really hard right behind him. There's Cohen on the outside, Neil Heckens on the inside, coming down the backstretch, battling it out, going into turn 3. Oh, and Cohen slams the door on Neil as they come out of turn 4. Cohen going to stay out ahead of Neil. And great racing here, Sean.
It is, yeah, but here comes Koenig. He is making a move, and he's awful fast down here on the bottom. He's making his way up. He's coming up on Pascal Line right now. That's his next target, so watch out.
Well, he's got Visser in front of him right now. I don't think he has enough, there's just not enough laps left, even with his fresh tires. If you look back to the front, Jano has got it pretty much sewn up here in first place. He's checked out a little bit, as we've seen him do with all the restarts. He's being chased hard by Koen Gerards and Neil Heckens. Koen did a fantastic job to keep Neil Heckens out there, Rudy, because Neil was trying for that inside line. As we see Dennis Jarrison getting into 4th place, just passing Denny Rats there. So these guys fighting really, really hard now. He touches the wall a little bit there. That won't do any damage. Michael Koenig, where is he? Good grief. Michael Koenig is charging hard, very, very hard. He's challenging now the number 42 car of Denny Rats. Goes to the inside, manages to grab that position, I believe. So maybe this is working out for him, Rudy.
Absolutely. Like I said, he may only been trying to get a top 5, but he's rolled into I believe into the 4th position now, and that's very, very strong by him. As they're coming down to the closing laps here, we've got 4 laps to go here, and everybody battling and hard, pushing their trucks as hard as they can push them, and trying to stay safe. Coming out of turn 4, Michael Koenig gets a little bit loose right on the tail of Neil Heckens.
Yeah, Neil not giving up the inside line there, and that's kind of balking Michael for a run. And what that's also done is given Dennis Garrison an opportunity to confirm that 3rd place position. Michael has got to try and get on the inside of Neil Heckens if he's going to try and make that position, but Neil is not making it easy. Great racing from Neil Heckens there. In the meantime, Jano Manekit still out in front there, and a good lead he's got on Koen Gerard. So it looks to me like my prediction may well come true, and he's going to come away with this race, Rudy.
Absolutely, as they're getting ready to come to the white flag here, going trying to reel in Yarno, but I just don't think there's enough time to get up there and challenge him. But been a great race for these guys. These guys have really been hard chargers all race long. Dennis Garrison now in the third spot, really putting on a heck of a run here today. I'm sure he's very pleased with his run. Had a few little taps into the wall, but nothing that has caused him
And
major
Koenig
damage.
making a late run, Rudy, and he gets past the 41 car of Neil Heckens into fourth place now. Gets a little bit of a tap as well. And sorry, what are we hearing?
Yep,
Checkered flag. That was the last. That was the last lap there. Sorry about that. So back to you, Rudy.
Yeah, Yarno coming across the line first. Very, very good finish. Showing Cohen probably about a half a second behind him as they come across the line. So great run by Yarno today. Man, oh man, did he ever put on a heck of a show. Coming out there with them 4 fresh tires and just beating the pants off of these guys out here, Richard.
Yeah, so just to recap on that, Jano Panakit did win the race. He had a good lead and he didn't relinquish it to anybody. Kun Gerard's a great second place from him. Challenge from Neil after the restart from Neil Heckens, but he managed to hold him off and kept that place. The best run we saw in that last restart was from Michael Koenig. Without a doubt, he moved from 11th place he was when on the restart. He managed to pull off a 4th place there with Neil Heckens in 5th place, Rudy.
Yeah, that was a great run by Michael Koenig. We were kind of a little concerned there whether that 4-tire pit stop was going to be a good thing for him or not, but definitely took him from 11th to 4th. I think he's very proud of that run. I think he wanted to kind of be up there and challenge Yarno, but coming home 4th spot, that's I think he'll take that.
You know,
Absolutely.
I want to give my hats off to our own Kevin Brown, our spotter, for making that call on Dennis Garrison there. He had a heck of a run to finish 3rd.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's keep running through. And we will go and have a chat with some of the drivers after a very, very short break. So let's just run through the final spots there, Rudy.
All right. Well, Neil Heckens, like we said, coming in the 5th spot there after him and Michael Koenig having that last lap battle, and Michael Koenig just barely getting by him, beating him by less than 1/10 of a second at the line. Roy Visser in the 6th spot, which we watched Roy pretty much all day long, and Roy really put on a good run out there for the race today. Mark Figueres in the 7th spot, Pascal Land in 8th, and Michael Carter in 9th, and Denny Rates in the 10th spot, Richard.
Excellent racing from everyone in that top 10. And, in 11th place, Joshua Frank, we saw some really, really good battling with Joshua and some of the other drivers. In 12th place, Remco Moot. We didn't speak much about him, but he's brought up a 12th place. Thyman Nabirs, which we spoke about in the early part of the race, and Ben Hogan, 13th and 14th. 15th place by Robert Witt, and then Eric Mulder in 16th. The rest of them pretty much parked it behind the wall. So the finish is 16th. Now, I believe our director has lined up 1 or 2 people for us to speak to in the booth. So we'll take a very quick break and we'll come back and have a chat with some of these guys.
Welcome back here to the GOT race at Charlotte Motor Speedway today, where we watched Jarno Pennekeet win here in the top spot. Great run by these guys out here today. And we've got, obviously we don't have him to interview, but we would like to congratulate him on our win. But we do have our third place driver here, Dennis Garrison. Welcome, Dennis. How are you today?
I'm great finish, so very happy.
Well, you put on a heck of a show out there today, to Dennis. Tell us a little bit about how the racing was to you. Or, you know, how did the tires and the truck feel on the track for you?
It felt pretty good, especially after the first 2-3 laps, when the tires got a bit more heat in them. It was a bit loose on the starts, but after that, it felt really solid.
Well, that was a great race out there. We've seen a lot of side-by-side racing, and you guys raced very clean, and we've seen you up in the front pretty much most of the day, and you managed to stay out of a lot of the major wrecks. And was it a little bit too many cautions for you, or did you feel like, you know, it was about average?
About average. The starts are always pretty hectic, and after that we had a pretty long green run for some green flag pit stops. That's just the thing you can expect for this kind of racing. Not too bad.
Well, it seemed like after, like you said, after 4 or 5 laps, you got a little heat in them tires, and they seemed to get pretty good bite coming off. But we noticed everybody having trouble coming out of turn 4 or going side by side down through the quad oval. Did you find that kind of a little bit tricky sometimes coming out of 4 or going down through the front stretch?
Yeah, the exit of 4 is really tricky. It gets very loose, very easy. Also lost it one time during the race. Had a big moment going through the grass, big hop somewhere in the middle. Managed to keep it out of the wall somehow. It's very tricky. It's also when you're on the low line in 3 and 4, it gets loose on the exit. Seems where the banking is changing. It's pretty tricky on 3 and 4, especially exit of 4.
We seen you go for a ride out across the grass there, and it seemed like it. After you did that, it seemed like you picked up speed. So we kind of made a little joke about it there, saying maybe you got that grass kind of cooled the tires off a little bit. Did it feel a little bit better after that, or what?
No, it was still the same, but I was running in first when that happened, and I got in the field about P10, I guess. I just was driving for the hell of it, just trying to gain as much positions as I could.
Well, great job out there today, Dennis. Congratulations on your 3rd spot finish. You know, that was just some awesome racing, and coming back from that spin like that, you know, well, it wasn't really a spin, but you went for a ride out across the grass, like, you know, like that was, and good save on that. So congratulations anyhow on your 3rd spot. And you want to give a shout out to anybody?
Just to the organization. They put a lot of time and effort in it, so want to thank them and everyone for racing pretty clean, I guess. Good race.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dennis, and congratulations again. John?
Yes, and now it's time to interview our 2nd place finisher, Koen Gerards. How you doing, Koen?
I'm fine. And how are you guys doing?
Excellent. We really enjoyed watching you run today. That was a heck of a run for you, man.
Yeah, I didn't quite expect that one. I hardly had time to practice, and I was expecting or hoping for a top 10 finish, but 2nd place is really a better spot than expected.
Well, it looks like you turned almost 70 laps in practice prior to the race. I mean, you were able to get a pretty good feel for it, but you qualified 7th, and you put her on the podium there in 2nd. It's a really solid run. What was the biggest challenge for you out there today?
Well, for me, it was actually getting into turn 1. I had a lot of times that I just didn't lift enough for the car to steer in properly. and also well, staying out of trouble. I've had on one occasion that you had the leader just flying through the air over the track and trying to avoid him without causing any more mess. And just staying out of trouble was the best part, actually.
Yeah, and what about the tires? What do you think about the tires here at Charlotte? Were you a little surprised at how quickly they come in and then how quickly they go away?
Well, on the when we had like I think it was like 25 laps to go or something, I was checking my fuel and I only had fuel for like 20 laps, so I wasn't gonna make it. And luckily for me, there was a caution, and I decided to change tires, and I think that Jarno didn't at that time. And actually, I messed up pretty much every restart that we had, but I was able to gain position back on him. And just as I was getting really close to him, then we got another caution, and after that, I messed up my restart again, and my tires were, well, they've had their best part yet, so I wasn't really able to catch him up again.
Well, Kuhn, a really awesome run watching you out there today, and I congratulate you on your podium finish there in second. Time to drink the champagne and enjoy your evening, right?
Yeah, will do.
You want to
Thanks.
thank anybody? You have any sponsors you want to thank for the event?
I just want to thank all the guys at God's Racing Crew. They're awesome they're a lot of fun to race with, helping everyone out with setups and stuff, especially Neil and Danny now for organizing this event. And I'd also like to thank my girlfriend Gitte for, well, enduring my racing.
Well, hey, thanks a lot. Really enjoyed having you here today, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Well, guys, we have Neil Hickens in the booth with us, and Neil, how are you today?
I'm good. I had a very strong car. A great battle in the beginning with I think 4 or 5 other trucks, and after the green pit stops, I passed a couple of cars with good strategy. Took 2 tires. That worked out, but unfortunately somebody drove into me, and after I got my repairs done, thanks to the cautions, I was still missing some speed, so it was very hard to keep Michael behind me at the end.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race to watch and also to call. We certainly had a great time up here in the booth calling the race. So when you started off, did you think you had a good chance at getting the win? Who was your main? Who were you most worried about at the beginning of the race?
Yeah, Yarn is always pretty fast. The guy who made a lot of flips on the front stretch. Sorry, but I don't remember the name. He was pretty quick too. And I thought if I could stay in front with just by strategy and try to stay cool, I had a good chance of winning.
Yeah, right at the beginning of the race, it was yourself. There was Dalton Collins, and I think it was Jano was in there as well, Jano Panakit. And the other one that was in there with you guys was Roy Fizzer. And you guys were pretty much a 4-car pack leading everyone else by a good margin. And at that stage of the race, we looked at it and we said, well, this is where the win's going to come from. Well, it did, and it came from Jarno, but we did have high hopes that you, as one of the organizers of this race, would get up onto the podium. Not to be today, but I suppose, or I do hope that you're satisfied with the way things went for the race.
Yeah, especially with the car I had after the crash. I was very happy that I came in 5th because I was, I think, 16, and then at the last caution I took 2 tires and started 2nd again. So I was pretty happy with the finish.
Yeah, well, it was a good finish, and that last lap battle there with Michael Koenig, and he just pipped you by less than a couple of thousandths of a second. So, great finish and a great race. Let's just talk for a moment about the organization of the race. Hard work to put on a race like this.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's we try to keep it very the car track combination very pretty easy. So everybody could join, and it's not like Bristol very hard. And but no, everybody cooperated, so it was very nice, and everybody else made it easy for us.
Excellent. Do you have any plans for more races of this type in the future?
We don't know. I personally, I really hope so. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, Neil, thank you for talking to us, and thank you also for putting on such a great event. A long race like this, endurance is exactly what I like to see a lot of. More on iRacing. So thank you very, very much for talking to us as well. And we'll see you out on the track somewhere. Back to you, Rudy.
Okay, well, thank you again, Neil. That was a great event. We appreciate it very much. Let's move on here. Sean, tell us some of your thoughts about the race today.
Yeah, I want to say, for one, I think it's great that we get to see some people from the international community really come together like this and have fun on a track here stateside, like Charlotte. Charlotte has a history of being a really, really fast track that presents many challenges. The dog leg coming out of 4 there, the speed into 1 that you carry. I mean, in a truck, you're going 185 miles an hour into turn 1, and all of a sudden you got to turn left to get through that banking. Really exciting, like I said, to see people from the international community really come together and drive so well, so fast, and have such an entertaining and really competitive race.
Absolutely. Richard, what are your thoughts on the race today? How did you feel that the race went?
Well, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Let's just put it that way. Great racing from a lot of good drivers. I think one of the interviewees put it pretty much the right way when he said that the cautions were about average for this length of race on this track. So I don't think we can complain too much about that. Good racing. Saw some really good challenges. I agree with Sean that it's great to see people not from somewhere in the deep south of of America racing these trucks, and we see some people from other countries and other communities doing that. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really enjoyed calling the race as well. And back to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And Kevin, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, you guys have all summed it up pretty well. This was a good race to cover. I enjoyed the balance of yellow versus green, and there was good action all over. But I think that was a great race to broadcast.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Kevin. Yeah, I'll just throw my quick 2 cents in here. I thought the race was amazing. The finish was just, Jarno pulling out with such a lead like that. And, the cautions is something that I kind of wanted to bring up about it real quick. The cautions is something that we look at each and every race at Charlotte. It's a hard track to pass on. You pretty much have to pass on the straightaways, not in the turns. The track is a little slick when you first start out with them fresh tires. You get some heat in them. We've seen some green flag pit stops by a few drivers, and I enjoyed that very much. So great racing by everybody out there today, and I'd like to thank them especially for the job that they did and putting on a good show.
Good stuff. Well, Rudy, looks like we've come to the end of the broadcast, so will leave you to close it out.
All right, give me 1 second here. All right. Well, I'd like to give special thanks to doggone it.
Do you want me to help you out with that?
Yeah, I've got some stuff going on here. I don't know what the heck's going on. I got stuff
Okay.
flipping everywhere.
All right, I will
I'm
close
sorry.
it out for you.
Okay, thank you.
We at GlobalSimRacingChannel.com, we would like to thank iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, and Ava Media. We would also like to thank the team that did the broadcast today. That was Kevin, Sean, Rudy, and myself. We have a great website for you to have a look at, www.globalsimracingchannel.com. We are on Twitch at GSR Channel. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. So check us out on all these different avenues if you wish to. The music we have on our broadcast is provided by Eric Ekholm. You can find his music not only here on the GSRC, but also in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. And if you do like the music, tell him where you heard it at ericekholm.com. We have another musician, Casey Lalonde, who also provides us with some fantastic music for our broadcast. You can find some more of his music at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. Now, the next race will be on the 9th of November at Indianapolis at 10 a.m. at Pacific Standard Time. That will be the Blondies MX5 World Tour presented by QRS. Also on the same evening, we will have the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series at Road America. So until next time, folks, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.